what we do here is go back.
Hey guys, Ed here. What's going on? Happy New Year and happy 2017. By the time this video is up, it'll probably be the next day. But I haven't made a video in a while, and I think I've pretty much started every video that I'm not really editing too much like the past year. I've done this every year where I kind of go over all the kits that I finished, and I figured I would do it again, because why break tradition? But I didn't do too many models this year, as you can see. Pretty much everything that I did, Gunpla-wise, is on the table in front of me, aside from one model. The grays, it was a custom grays that I made, and kind of a tan and brown red color scheme. And I sold that, because people have actually been buying my Gunplas of late, which is really cool. And yeah, so I'm going to go over these kits, and then I'm going to talk about a couple update things that I'm sure my YouTube following might want to hear about, because I don't really keep you guys too posted on stuff. If you don't follow my other accounts, you probably just think I'm not doing anything, but I promise I'm actually up to a lot of stuff. I'm just not posting it all on YouTube. So anyway, here are the models I did this year, and I honestly can't remember the exact order I did them. I think the Grays was first, and then the Gundam, and then the Zaku, and then the Zagach. And the diorama was the last thing I did back in October for my GBWC competition, which I can't even remember if I showed it off or not in the video, but we'll take a look at that in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of zoom in on a couple of these guys here. This is the Zaku II that I made this year. His name is Minty. His paint color scheme is kind of mint-like. All my kits this year were pretty much the same style that I always do, the weathered, chipped, slightly beaten up look. And except the Gundam. The Gundam was a clean job. Minty, I can't remember. I switched airbrushes at the beginning of the year because my airbrush died. And I think the Gundam was the first kit I did with that brush. Yeah, it was, because that was my test bed. But Minty was after that, so he was made, I can't even remember. I'm not even going to try to tell you when these guys were made or what time of the year, but yeah, so there's Zaku II again. He's just kind of weathered. I wanted to give him my signature beat up look, little flat finish. I really like him. He currently, or has been living with my girlfriend, but since I'm now living with my girlfriend, it kind of, he's kind of living with both of us. Moving over here, this is the Gundam, the RX-78-2. This is the classic Gundam, the first high-grade Universal Century that came out. I've done the Revive Gundam, I've done the G30th Gundam, I've done this one, and I've done multiple revives actually, and this by far is one of my favorite RX designs of all time. I just love the proportions. It's such a fun kit, really fun to seam fix and shade, just nice blocky proportions, and then it does wonders if you give him new hands, because the hands kind of suck. That's my only real negative opinion on this kit, but overall I love it. I've always loved this mold. Super fun, and I did him kind of in a Max Watanabe shading style. If you don't know who that is, he's an old builder that shades his kits, and I kind of put MSV old kind of style markings on him to give him that vintage look kind of thing. And I want to do more of this kit. I've done all of the high-grade Gundams, all the different molds, and I've got to say this is definitely my second favorite, the Revive being the first, but there's something about this classic high-grade that you really just can't beat. And then over here is my Zagach that I did. He doesn't have a name, unlike Minty, and I guess the Gundam doesn't really have a name either. But this guy, I finished sometime in the summer, I think, because I wanted to do shots of him in the water or near the water that I never ended up getting around to doing. But again, I did him in kind of a muted red. If you notice, all of my kits that I paint red, I do in this very dark red. I don't really like to do punchy reds too much. I prefer this like dark, almost brown color. But that's how the Zagach is, honestly. So it's not too far of a stretch from the original color palette. And then on the feet, got some mud buildup and everything. Been doing that lately, trying to put more actual turf onto the kits to make them look like they've been through you know, some combat, or just kind of they haven't been cleaned up from battle or whatever yet. But yeah, I was really happy with this guy. I've never done it as a Zagach, but again, this is just all three of these. So I'll punch out here. All three of these kits are classic high-grade Universal Century models from early 2000s. I think the Zagach might have been, I think it was 2001. I was going to say I think it's 99, but I don't think it is. Anyway, yeah, all three of these guys are original, like, old school high grades, and I love that. I love old high grades. They're some of my favorite kits to do. They're cheap. They don't require a lot of work to look nice, in my opinion, and if you know how to seam fix and if you give them new hands, they look great. They're like my favorite models to do. So I had a blast doing these three guys, and then again the Grays, which isn't pictured here because he's sold and I forget where he went, but I really love doing these kind of mobile suits, these classic thicker round style one-year war suits, and I've done a handful of them. There's a couple more that I want to do, but in 2017 I definitely want to expand and do I want to do more Grazes, because making custom kits out of the Graze models is so much fun. And I'm working on the Grim Guard right now. I think that's what it's called. The Grim Guard, the big red guy. And anyway, last but not least, I want to kind of go over the diorama that I made this year for GBWC. Rotate it a bit. This is, again, my entry for New York City Comic Con GBWC this year. And, being kind of unprofessional here, but whatever. This is probably my best diorama, and that's not really saying a lot because I've only made two. But this was called A Bridge Too Far. And again, I probably should have done 5 minutes and looked back at my old video and seen if I talked about this yet or not, but oh well, if I didn't, here's me talking about it more. This is a scene that I created. My concept is about the one-year war is ending, and the Zeon forces are retreating home, and this gun cannon was basically sent out to round up any straggler Zeon units that were trying to flee, and they went a bridge too far and got caught by him. He's going, I'm gonna cut your arm. If you can't see it, there's a train track going across the bridge, because I kind of include trains as my theme in all of my dioramas. It's something I love. I love trains, so I love putting that. I love putting that in my work. And he's a Zagach here, or Zagach is custom. He's got arm extensions. He's got a claw instead of a hand. And then on the top there I put Gym 3 missile pods from high grade, and a random Strumfaust, and then a custom gun cannon that I made. And I'm not showing it off well enough, there's photos of this whole thing on my blog, and I'll link it below. But the water was made with resin. My first time using a resin mix, a clear resin mix. You can't really see it too well because of the light reflecting off of it, but it is clear. You can see the bottom. And I won Best Small Scale with this, so that was really cool. So GBWC was a lot of fun this year. I'm not going to go into that now because I did a video on that already, but I learned a lot from doing this diorama, and it made me want to do more diorama pieces in the future. And the presentation on this is utter shit. I hated the way that I did the outside of it, but I literally did that the night before the convention, so blame myself for rushing. But yeah. So anyway, in conclusion, out of the, I guess technically I did 7 kits because those 3, but I kind of count that as one piece, and then these guys as their own separate pieces. So yeah, I did a handful of kits this year. I didn't do as many as I did last year, but I think my quality definitely has stepped up in terms of building, and my expectations of myself have gone up too. I want to push myself farther to become an even better builder, and I've learned a lot. At the very least, I've learned a lot this year about weathering and resin and dioramas in general. And I want to make more dioramas. This was a lot of fun. I love creating a scene, a structure, and building it and telling a story, and I think that's so cool. And I feel like my Gunpla career is kind of tending to move more towards making dioramas like this, because all of my kits usually end up being like weathered or somewhat weathered, and I want to make accessories for them and display them in a way where it looks like they're in their element, in their actual scale element. And I think the best way to do that pretty much is making dioramas. And there's a lot more stuff I've made this year that's not Gunpla. I opened an Etsy store, and I've been selling dioramas. Actually, I'll just grab one. I've been making these miniature dioramas and miniature necklace things. Here's one. They're just tiny, tiny little dioramas. I made these with 2 1:400 scale figures. And this has been a lot of fun making these. I'm having such a blast making things on Etsy, and they're selling very well, so people like them. Here's another thing I made. They're basically just little miniatures. It's like a little shield thing. I don't think I've listed this one yet. But I'm also making necklaces and other bits and bobs, which I'm not gonna show off anymore. So if you want to see that, you can go down to my Etsy shop. But yeah, so I guess I'm rambling. In conclusion, 2016, it wasn't the most productive year because I didn't make enough, but I learned a lot. And I didn't pump out, I don't think I did even half as many kits as I did last year, but I'm happy with what I made, and I think that's all that really counts. Yeah, so that's it. And before I go, I want to quickly wrap up on some things and touch base on a couple questions I keep getting on my Facebook page. A lot of people keep asking me about videos, and they're like, yeah, it's cool, like, see your unboxing videos, your haul videos, but where's Gunpla with Ed? Where is the Gunpla videos? Where are the build videos and the things that you started doing on YouTube? And I promise they are in the works. But essentially what happened, my computer died, and I haven't been able to afford one until now, to be completely blunt. And I'm not going to pay, $500 for a cheap computer that's going to break. I want a very nice laptop that I picked out. It's an Asus solid state thing. It's got a nice big drive. It'll do everything I need it to do. But editing on my laptop that I currently have, it's a tiny little Toshiba netbook thing. And the last couple videos that I've had to edit took me about 4 times the time that it took me to edit my first Gunpla with Ed video, which was, I think, 35 minutes long, and the rendering process is 36 hours for one video. And this computer, for some reason, has messed up my files so many times, and I render something, it takes 36 hours, I come back, I check it 36 hours later, and something messed up, it didn't record a file correctly, or the file's in the program in Sony Vegas, but it didn't render into the video, and it just chooses randomly to do that pretty much, and I'm probably being stupid. It's probably something I did, but regardless, I don't have time to sit there for another 36 hours after fixing something that took 10 seconds and waiting, and it's incredibly frustrating for me to make videos like this. I've been struggling to try to edit the past couple that I've put up in the past year, but it takes so much time to do that on something like this, and it's infuriating because it takes me forever to do it, and I can't, obviously there's no way I can play any of my games or do any streaming or anything like that. I did a live stream with Jeremy a couple weeks ago, but that was on his computer and his stuff. But yeah, basically the reason why I haven't uploaded a lot is because the editing process just takes so long because this computer is so laggy. But good news is I have a new computer that will be here within the month. I have that coming. I finally have my setup back. I've moved in. I'm actually moved to Pennsylvania. I'm living with my girlfriend currently. I'm in the basement right now with my setup, and this is where I'll be doing stuff. Again, I'm not showing off too much because there's really nothing to show off. I'm in a basement with 2 tables set up for my work, but yeah, so hopefully you guys stick with me, and thanks. There's so many people that are subscribing to my channel lately, and I feel bad because I haven't done anything good in like years. It's literally this February, it'll be 2 years since I made the first Gunpla with that episode, and it's ridiculous. So again, TLDR, new computer's coming, finally have my setup back. Expect more from me, even though I always say that, so just trust me this time. So anyway, I hope you guys have a good 2017. Let's say goodbye to 2016 because it was not the best year ever, but definitely not the worst. And a lot of good things happened this year for me, so I'm not going to whine and bitch and say 2016 was horrible because it really wasn't. So that's about it. And what did you guys make this year? I know YouTube doesn't have pictures. I wish it did, but send me links to shit that you guys made. I want to see it. So that's about it. And if you guys want to see photos of all this, I will have links below to my blog and my Facebook and all that fun shit. So have a good one, guys. This has been Ed, and I will see you on the next video.